It's time to sweat under these lights and answer some questions. What's good, Internet? My name is attackslug, and this is my 40,000, how the hell that happened, question and answer video. You guys asked me a shit ton of questions, like over 150, so I picked like 20 of them that I thought might be interesting to answer, and that's what I'm gonna sit here and do. So, tune in, turn on, and let's get to moving. First question comes from Zitroman WWE, who wants to know, when I do perplexing pixels with Grim, why do I bring shitty games with bad quality? Now, I prepared an answer for this question, and that answer might shock you. Here you see Shadow of Mordor with a Metacritic score of 84, and the views it got, 4,679. Compare that to WCW Backstage Assault with a Metacritic of 48, 26,680 views. Then we have Uncharted 4 with a Metacritic of 93, 5,872 views. Hulk Hogan's Main Event with a Metacritic of 26, 38,425 views. Does that answer your question? Kai Costello wants to know who is my favorite YouTuber, so I'm going to consider this as someone who's only on YouTube, and right now I'm really enjoying Gaming with Character. I'm going to have a little tag here, a little card. Go check him out. His videos are hilarious, and he deserves a whole lot more subs. Joseph Ray wants to know, would I ever visit 2K for a special first look, or do I want to just keep it real? No deal. I think I've gone over this a number of times, but it's pretty simple. I think most preview coverage from people who aren't actually in the media is kind of tainted, and I think that they expect you to have a positive opinion for preview coverage, and that's not me. That's just not how I roll. If I can't be 100% honest with you guys, then no deal. I think it's more important to build a reputation with real talk than it is to sell the fuck out. Number 2 on Twitter wants to know, why do I have a grandma decorative bedspread in my room? Roasted. Jason Bullock wants to know, when will we finally have Do Hot vs. attackslug round 3? And as I said, we need to have Grim as a special guest referee in that, special guest enforcer in that, and that dude is so hard to get a hold of to schedule anything. If you haven't noticed how weirdly perplexing Pixels has been the past few months, is here, sometimes it's there, it's difficult. I really do want to do it, but getting all 3 of our schedules to kind of align is a fucking miracle. Nonstop Player wants to know, what is my favorite finisher of all time? Any variation of your Ace Cutter, Diamond Cutter, RKO. It's a simple move you can do to anybody, and it looks cool. That's all I can ask for. Alright, a couple of folks want to know about upcoming games. We got Laureen Peterson, we've got Hogan Rules, and we have Alessandro Aguilar. I want to know about games about this year and next year. I did prepare a small list here. As far as the rest of this year goes, I really want to know The Last Guardian. Hopefully it's this year, fingers crossed. They just delayed it till December, but it's been 10 years. I need to know what the fuck is happening with The Last Guardian. Dishonored 2. I enjoyed Dishonored 1 a whole lot, so however they can expand on that is cool. And then just kind of a variety of the VR stuff. Like, you know, not any particular title, just I have that PSVR pre-ordered, and I have a bunch of games in my GameFly, so I'm looking forward to all the different VR stuff. But specifically, I think the patch for Trackmania for VR sounds batshit crazy. Now looking at 2017, man oh man, there's Yakuza 0, Resident Evil 7, Neo, Persona 5, South Park, Earth Defense Force 5, Zelda, the whole NX, whatever the fuck that is. A lot of big games, a lot of small games, hope they all stick to their release dates. But if I had to name one game on top of everything, regardless of the year, one game, Disaster Report 4, which is supposedly actually coming out, and I've been waiting for that game for a long fucking time. R. Charles wants to know, if WWE made a Lego wrestling game, would I be interested in playing it? I think the question is, who's making it? Is it the usual Traveler's Tales, Lego, same damn format game? That's not as interesting. If you were going to have somebody besides Ukes have a new wrestling game, that is way more interesting. But again, it's a wrestling game, so certainly I'd rent it and play it and make Grim play it. Cody Anderson wants to know, do I like what Matt Hardy's doing in TNA right now? I think it is amazing that he's managed to reinvent himself yet again this late into his career. I think what he's doing right now is fantastic, although Final Deletion 2, Delete or Decay, not as good as the first one, but again, sequels are hard. But yeah, I think his stuff right now is pretty much one of the only things worth watching in TNA. Hazy Retro wants to know, what mic do I use? Which is actually kind of a funny question, only because I don't really actually legitimately have for YouTube. I have a microphone back when I used to do music, but that's not hooked into my setup here, so literally, for 95% of these videos, it is a Galaxy S3. And I have obviously some audio dampening like blanket thing here behind the thing. I got some studio foam over there, so like I've managed to mitigate the echoing stuff a little bit. But yeah, it's a really old cell phone, and I like it because it only has one microphone. Like the S5 and the S7 have two, and when you get that into your editing stuff, it doesn't sound as good as you ever want it to. So at some point, this thing's gonna die, and I'm gonna be fucked. Tom Gibbs wants to know some of my favorite movies. I'm just gonna kind of peek over here and say, obviously, Jurassic Park, Die Hard, Kung Fu Hustle, Paprika, Office Space, Santa's Sleigh, and anything Mystery Science Theater 3000 has ever done. It's all fantastic. Brady Verana wants to know, do I think I'll be playing any more old games as a series? Now, I'm assuming you mean old wrestling games, and the answer there is probably after 2K17. I don't know, I haven't really thought about it. I do want to go back to Here Comes the Pain and finish that story thing properly, but after that, who knows? But in terms of old games in general, there's always something I kind of want to get into, but it's always a matter of figuring out the technical limitations. Like, I'd love to do Fatal Frame. Like, I own Fatal Frame 1, 2, and 3. I've never actually played them, but they were on sale on PS3 for super cheap. But again, there's a variety of technical issues, and then that's with, you're playing a horror game. Do I have all these fucking lights on, or do I have some other kind of a setup with the lights off? And it's never as simple as hitting play and hitting the camera and just going. There's always a bunch of things to consider, and as always, finding the time to do it. Random Eric wants to know if I'm getting the PS4 Pro. I will tell you, I have one pre-ordered. As soon as the Amazon page went up, I pre-ordered it. I don't know if I actually want one this fall, and if I can fit that in my budget this fall. Because Amazon does not charge until they actually ship the thing, I have about a month and a half to think about it. Considering I don't have a 4K TV, and considering that all of these videos I do here on YouTube are all in 720, the only real benefit I'm interested in hearing more about is the fact that it's going to make all the VR stuff, which I am totally buying, better. And better frame rate, better resolution, whatever in VR, that to me is way more interesting than, oh, we're going to do near 4K. Questions about my recording and editing software here from Baby Digu and Joe T. I record through, obviously I said, my S3 here as the phone for my face cam stuff. This here is S5, because it's a, obviously I'm doing the better camera here. The S7, the front-facing camera is not great. It's got issues. And then all my game feed stuff goes through my Hapog HD PVR2. At some point, I need to buy a new capture card, capture kit thing, because this thing can't do 1080 and 60, and that's going to be an issue at some point. But as far as editing, I throw it all into Adobe Premiere and make that magic happen. Boom Zone wants to know, Roman or Eva Marie? I will tell you, Eva Marie. Because they recognized that people were booing the shit out of her, and they turned her heel, which they refuse to do with Roman. Keith White wants to know, do I think the Xbox Scorpio will win the next console generation? It's not really a generation. I mean, this whole thing is just this weird half step that is pretty much unprecedented within the home console space. So certainly, on paper, the Scorpio is more powerful than the PS4 Pro, but considering both those things are backward compatible with the things that are already on the market, is it actually going to make that much of a difference once they finally hit store shelves? And PS4 Pro having a 1-year head start when PS4 already has like a, 20 or 30 million unit head start. I guess the real question is, how long of an extension is that until the next actual Xbox or the next actual, like the PS5, will it ever actually be a thing? Like, nobody knows. We're in completely uncharted territory, but obviously I'm gonna buy one. David Ausbun wants to know, what would I do if I ever hit 100,000 subscribers? I'll let you know when we get there. Trey Bacchus and New York Giants 83 want to know when I started playing video games and did I game a whole lot. I started at about age 5. My dad had bought an Atari 2600 and it was alright. I still have all the games in my closet there. I actually have a working Atari. Not the same Atari, but a working Atari. But it wasn't until the original NES, the original Super Mario Bros. And I was like 7 or 8. And I'm like, no, I need that. I have to have that. That looks amazing. And pretty much from there, gaming nonstop. Jacob Stoddard wants to know what WWE match I'm most looking forward to, or that you want to happen. I think that we totally need to have Nakamura Lesnar. It happened in New Japan a bunch of years ago, but that totally needs to happen. It could be epic. Although in terms of matches that are probably going to happen at some point, I think Nakamura and Owens would be fucking fantastic. And just as a random, probably won't happen, but hey, who knows, it's wrestling, Cesaro and Shelton Benjamin, I think, would tear the fucking house down. And finally, Michael Vinci wants to know, what was the song that played at the beginning of Yelling at Clouds? Wow, that is a deep pull. I did like 4 of those, like a long fucking time ago. Like a lot of my little intro bits, that comes from Korean hip-hop. This one in particular comes from a group called Molotov Cocktail, and it is a song called Watch Out. I'll put the card here for that song. Fun fact, Molotov Cocktail also has the intro little bit for Bonus Pixels. And that wraps up another Q&A. Thank you to everyone who put in questions. I'm sorry, there's no way I can answer 150 questions in one video, but I did read them, and I do appreciate them. If you feel like there was a bunch of questions that I should have answered, certainly I've done a lot of them in previous Q&As. I guess go check those out if you have the time. And in terms of when's gonna be the next Q&A, I'd say let's shoot for like December-ish. Anyway, I am running out of battery here, so I have to wrap this up. Thanks for watching. You guys are fucking awesome. I'm attackslug. More videos every day. And I'll see you next time right here on this channel. And I'm out.